of fish for the Nigerian populace. So it's a business that we realize that we still need people to go into. There is still open market. There is market at every day. So without wasting much of our time, in order to be able to keep up to our time of 45 minutes for this training, so let's go into the step-by-step process, the step-by-step activity into the artificial breeding of catfish. And that is actually the practicality of this breeding process for this training. These steps are the step-by-step that we take from order of execution. And the first step is broodstock selection. The second step on the slide we can see is the broodstock acclimatization and conditioning. The third step, hypophysation. The fourth step is the procurement of meals from male broodstock. The fifth step is the procurement of eggs from female broodstock. The sixth, fertilization. The seventh, incubation and hatching. And lastly, we have the management of fry. So let's take the first one, which is broodstock selection. Let me say this, and I want you to pay attention. For many people who go into the business of fish breeding, I've told so many people who have come for physical training, and the first advice I give them is that upon the completion of your training, there is a critical aspect of this breeding exercise, which is the first step, that has to do with broodstock selection. The broodstock you make use of determines the success of the entire venture. Now, what is broodstock? Broodstock can be defined as matured fishes that are set aside for breeding purposes. I'll take that again. Broodstocks are sexually matured fishes that are set aside for breeding purposes. Now, and what is this advice I give to people who come for training? It is important that you own your own broodstock bank. What do I mean by that? You need to own your own broodstock. It took me 5 to 6 years within this fish breeding exercise for me to be able to know how important it is to own your own broodstock. Most times when you go out to buy broodstock from existing farms, there is higher tendency and probability that you might not be given a good broodstock. Now listen, a matured broodstock also gives you matured eggs. A broodstock that is not mature cannot give you matured eggs. And when you carry out breeding exercise without matured eggs, there is every tendency that you are going to lose those fish along the line during the management process. Of what use will that be? Meaning that so many people have been frustrated as a result of this, and yet they never realize that their problem actually starts from bad broodstock selection. This item cannot be overemphasized. Very soon in one of our postings, I'm going to actually do a write-up of broodstock selection and factors that surround broodstock selection, and I'm going to post on our platform so that we do a more lesson on broodstock, because it's a very important aspect of the fish breeding. The step 2 is what we refer to as broodstock acclimatization and conditioning. What does this have to do, or what does this mean? It actually means that having selected your broodstocks that are matured, we need to ensure that we condition them to the environment at which we want to carry out the breeding exercise. It is important to note that it's not good to place 2 broodstocks within the same culture facility. It's better we place them separately, because there is every tendency that if you place them together in a bowl, or you place them together in a jerry can, or in any other pottery facility, they might fight in that place and bruise one another by the skin through their spines. And that will actually affect the quality of the eggs, and definitely you might not have a good outcome. So after our selection, let's learn to keep them safe. Let's learn to keep them in places where they can't jump out and sustain injury, as we await the next step, which is the step for hypothesization. At the start, actually, we define hypothesization as the simulation of egg maturation. And this is by the injection or administration or inducement of the female fish in order to enhance the release of eggs from the female fish. Since it's artificial breeding, it means that the eggs are not ready to come out even though they are matured. It means we need to induce the fish in order to enhance the release of the eggs. And that is why under the hypothesization, the things we need to note, number one, we need to note the types of hormone that we can use in order to initiate the process of hypothesization. We have two types of hormone. We have the synthetic hormone, and we also have the natural hormone. For beginners, I'm going to advise that we make use of the synthetic hormone, since it's already synthesized and it's in a way that is ready to use. What is the dosage of using this synthetic hormone? It is mostly carried out by injecting a 0.5 mils of the synthetic hormone to a kg of fish. I'll repeat that. The synthetic hormone are designed to be injected by measuring a 0.5 mils of the synthetic hormone and injected to a kg of fish. Meaning, if your fish is more than a kg, you can always do the mathematics. For example, if the female fish you want to inject is 2 kg, it means that you are going to need 1 mils of the hormone. The types of synthetic hormones includes, number one, it includes ovaprene, ovaprene, ovulin, etc. These are examples of synthetic hormone, and they are administered at 0.5 mils to a kg of fish, except another type of synthetic hormone that we have, which is called Ovatide. Ovatide is administered at 0.2 mils to a kg of fish. So if you are using Ovatide, you can always do your mathematics in order to be able to do a proper initiation or injection or inducement of the female fish. Now, another thing I would like to talk about under hypothesization is the mode of injection. Back then when we were in school, for those of us who study fisheries and aquaculture related, we were told to inject intramuscularly and in other forms as well. But I realized that the methods we were being given most times always give an injury to the skin of the fish through the place along the lateral line where we are asked to inject. And that actually gave me a concern, because over time you realize that after injecting the fish, for those who do not inject properly, they realize that the fish will start deteriorating or will start decaying from that part where injection has been made. And if care is not taken, most times you will lose the fish, female fish. And that is not supposed to be, because female fish or female broodstock are so important to breeding processes that you can make use of them even after the first time. After you have collected the first filial generation of eggs, you can use them again for the second filial, as far as you feed them high proteinous feed that will enhance more productivity of eggs in them. So I was able to discover, based on the numbers of years I spent, that there are other ways in which you can inject the fish without losing them. If you look at that picture on that particular slide, see the position at which the injection is made, and that is at the lower part of the abdomen. At the lower part of the abdomen, the injection facing towards the edge region. The injection facing towards the edge region. If you inject at the lower part of the abdomen, close to the anus, you will be able to inject well, and the fish will not sustain any injury, and the fish won't die by the reason of improper injection or administration of hormone. Without wasting most of our time, let's go to the next step after epivisation, which is the step of procurement of meat from male broodstock. Another word for procurement of meat is collection of meat from male broodstock fish. What is meat? Meat is also known as sperm sac. That is the sac that contains the sperms. Because we need to get the sperm out, because we want to carry out a breeding artificially, it means we need to get the sperm sac or the meat out of the male broodstock fish. If you see the picture that you are looking at, you can see the location of the meat. Here we have two types of fish. On this particular slide, you are looking at the Heterobanchus longiphilis male. You can see where the milk is located. You can see where the milk is located. This other slide contains, this is the male Clearus gariepinus. You can see that it has a bigger milk than that of the Heterobanchus species. And when you are going to the breeding, in case your Heterobanchus species does not have a bigger milk like that of the Clearus, don't worry, as far as it is also milky. Because the Heterobanchus longiphilis species has a more potent sperm that has the ability to fertilize thousands of eggs. So we cut it in and you're able to see the location of the milk, which is also called sperm sac. And the next thing you do is to bring it out. You bring it out. Now note that the male fish does not necessarily have to die. You can always stitch it back with a stitching needle or the stitching thread. You can get that from the pharmacy store. You can always stitch it back and put it in a separate tank so that it has the ability to survive and it has the ability to be able to cope with the stress and not die. If you see the next slide, you can see that we have brought